All right, let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, are you guys there? Can you come back on if you're out there? We would love to see you. Let's see if we can get Brittany on. Is she coming? Let's see, we don't have. There's Debbie.
Hey,
Hey,
Debbie.
thank you.
There's Brittany. Let's see if
we can get
this
Brittany.
new phone will allow her on. Come on, phone.
It says heading.
Mine said the same thing. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yay!
There you are.
That was the answer. But that was good. We were just wanting to get everybody's attention.
That's it. And we did a good job with that. Now, hopefully, we were up to about 700 people on, so hopefully we can get back up to there. That'd be awesome. So, Brittany, you heard us. Is there anything else that we need to cover before you take over?
Well, let's just for anybody that's joining right now that maybe missed that first part, just a brief overview. Like, we want to share a few things with you all tonight. We're so grateful for your participation in the last live that we did. And we know there was a lot of questions that went unanswered. And so if you're here tonight and you have questions, now's the time to ask. We also want to tell you about a few calls that are happening this week that you might want to tune into, and we'll tell you how to get access to those. And we're going to share some stories from some different people who are having experiences since using the same protocol that Daryl and Annie are on. And really, all of you that are listening, if you're starting to notice changes and you'd like to share your experiences, reach out to Daryl directly and he can talk to you about how we can go about doing that. Because we're just excited hearing the changes that people are noticing. And we know some of you have been listening, you've kind of been like mulling it over in your head and you have questions, concerns, skepticism. That's totally normal. Feel free to ask away in the comment section tonight.
Yes, because we have 3 or 4 people that are there ready to answer. We're excited about them being here, willing to help us out.
Yeah, maybe Daryl, we could just start off by, I'm assuming, I know you guys have an amazing, loyal group of people that like coming around this page and seeing what you guys are up to. And they've seen you change over the last little while. And some of them have heard your story, but maybe you could just let everybody know what you were struggling with, Daryl, prior to finding this and what your breaking point was.
Okay. Absolutely. So April 28th, 11 years ago, I had a major cerebellar stroke that just about took my life, but it didn't, and I'm here, which I'm grateful for. But for several years, it was a yo-yo process for me. I would gain weight and I would have medications added, and it just kept going back and forth. Never had anything taken away. And then October of last year, I went to the doctor, and my weight was, I'd been heavier, so my weight wasn't as high as it had been, but my A1C was an 8.3. The doctor called me the next day and said, it's time to add another additional prescription. And this would be a once-a-week shot. And I said, I'm not doing that. And came home, talked to this sweet lady right here and said, what is that you've been listening to? You've been listening to Brittany and Jody about a program. Let's try it. And what was it that you shared with me?
Well, I have been listening to Brittany, and she had been talking about the Feel Great system, and I thought, let's try this system. It sounded like it was simple and not really difficult, and I just thought, well, let's try it. And so you started on it, and we didn't share it with any of you guys as followers because we wanted to make sure that it worked for Daryl. And so he started using the Feel Great system at the end of October. And then in January, you went back and your A1C had come down.
But yes. So after the first 3 months, I had lost 22 pounds and my A1C was down to a 6, which was just absolutely exciting. And then I went back Another 3 months later, I was down another almost 10 pounds, and my A1C was a 5.6. And sky's the limit there. I'm just totally excited
I
about
mean,
where it's at.
that's at your diet, your type 2 diabetic who was medicated, whose numbers were too high, even with the medication, right? And you went from that to not diabetic. I mean, actually reversing those numbers, right?
Right.
And do you say that the only thing that you really changed was implementing this protocol?
I would say so, because this protocol allows me to intermittent fast, which I was not able to do prior to this. I couldn't. My body wouldn't allow me to do that. But with this, with the Unamate, I am able I'm able to do it. So the intermittent fasting, and I did walk 30 to 45 minutes a day.
That's great. Yeah.
Other than that, there was, I don't run. I hate running unless there's a ball involved. I'll play basketball and goof around with the grandkids with footballs and stuff, but I'm not a runner.
So Daryl, I want to interrupt you real quick because I think, first of all, there's a lot of people asking, where do I get it? Where can we find it? And we're going to go into that more, but you do not want to go Google this online because you will pay full price. You will pay $235, and Daryl and Annie have a discount link that will give you $75 off, which is the same price that we pay, by the way. Like, we just buy it direct from the manufacturer. This is the exact same price that we pay, but he's able to actually extend that discount to you. And so you want to get it directly that way. You can comment the word info, INFO, and the link will be sent to you that way. Or you can go to, I'm going to let you guys say it because I always mess it up.
Miss Annie's Home and Kitchen.com/fiber. And that will take you to our landing page, and you're able to see all the information there.
Yeah, and so Miss Annie's Home and spell out the word and kitchen.com/fiber. Okay, or you can go info and you'll get the info sent to you that way as well. But we wanted to just share with you because I know there are people like Daryl who they know they need to walk. They know they need to get more movement. But maybe you're like Daryl. He has an hour-and-a-half commute each way to work every day. He gets up early. He's working tirelessly. And then he comes home, and to have to figure out how to have the energy to exercise on top of that isn't always easy, right? And we want to do certain things, and we have a desire to feel better, but the steps that it takes to get there feel overwhelming. And so if that's how you feel, I really do think, at least for me, that implementing these 2 drinks, I mean, it's so simple, right? But just drinking these drinks, somehow it on a cellular level, it gets the energy into your cells so that you can do those things that you've been wanting and meaning to do, but just haven't felt like you could. And it sounds like that's kind of what happened for Daryl, but where you have the energy and you're able to walk and you're doing some of these things, the part that you couldn't manufacture is what happened to your labs. I mean, that's just happening internally, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, we are going to go see a new doctor tomorrow, and we are so excited because we just feel like we're going to be able to have some conversations with her. And Daryl's he's off the metformin. He's really hoping that we can just keep lowering these medications and maybe end up at either 0 or just smaller amounts.
Smaller amounts.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah. And metformin specifically, I mean, let me be clear, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not prescribing anything to anyone. You definitely want to work with your doctor when it comes to easing off medications. But something really cool about this protocol is that the balance, the drink that you drink before your meals, a study was done on it, and it lowers your blood sugar spike, your post-meal blood sugar spike, 34 to 37%, which is actually stronger than metformin. So how cool that drinking this drink can have that effect. And Daryl, I don't know if you ever had side effects on metformin, but it's about 75% of people that get diarrhea and other side effects from the metformin. And so this is a nice relief to just have something natural.
Yeah, thankfully I didn't, but
That's good. Yeah.
that, you know, I
Yeah.
know that there are a few people out there that struggle with that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I wanted to show you guys, maybe I could we're going to bring on some guests, and I'm really excited for you guys to meet the guests. And maybe Daryl and Annie, you guys can even be working on finding them behind the scenes while I share this. But I wanted to just show you all a picture. Can you read this? I was real fancy and I printed it backwards so that it would show up the right way on the screen. But when you look at this, oh, good. Okay, well, I'm excited. We're going to talk to you in just a minute here, and I can't wait to. But I want to show you this piece of paper, because when you look at this and you see these different, symptoms, let's call them diabetes, 50% of Americans are diabetic or pre-diabetic. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, this is the leading cause of infertility. Fatty liver disease, this is happening even to children, right? This used to be something that was only alcoholics. Heart disease, high blood pressure, Alzheimer's, migraines, erectile dysfunction for men, neuropathy, obesity. These are all things that we think of as separate issues, and we usually treat them separately, when in reality, they have the same root cause. And the problem is the insulin resistance. And so when we go to the doctor for this problem, for heart disease problem, and we get put on a medication, it might get our numbers into good ranges, but it's doing nothing for the reason that your heart numbers were bad in the first place, right? It doesn't actually go after the root cause of the problem. And that's really what this protocol does. So I'm excited we'll go a little deeper in that. But if you're struggling with any of these things, or if you have the early warning signs, things like skin tags or skin pigmentation issues, or if you've noticed that your stomach is kind of changed, your waistline has gotten a little thicker, maybe you feel like you kind of have a firm protruding belly, maybe you've noticed that you can't seem to lose weight, constant cravings, irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety, depression. These are all symptoms of this same problem, insulin resistance. And that's exactly what this protocol solves for. So introduce me to your guest, Daryl, and then we'll jump into this.
This is William. How you doing, William? This is
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, good. Tell us your story, buddy.
Well, I'm familiar with intermittent fasting. Last year, I began for a golf trip I was going on in February, and I was able to shed 15 or so pounds by it. But last fall, I had a kidney stone procedure, lithotripsy, and some other things. And so I got away from it. And I'm a pastor. I deal with a lot of people in crisis. I work as a day a week as chaplain at a 160-bed nursing home. So I see a lot of stress. And I was turning to food kind of as my comfort and relaxation. And even though I knew it was wrong, I was eating late, eating before bed, and then the cravings just kind of take over. Now in high school, I ran a mile in 4.5 minutes. So I know what it is to be in good shape. By the way, that wasn't yesterday and it won't be tomorrow, but I just could not stand how I was feeling. I ballooned up 30 pounds from what I'd weighed when I was doing my intermittent fasting. But the difference is, and it was my wife who watches Annie's cooking show, said they're going to do something tonight, watch with me. But I was so desperate because my clothes weren't fitting, my energy level was in the tank. I just was not enjoying life. And I know what it is to feel good. And so after your program 2 weeks ago, we ordered it that night. It came in 2 days. And from that point, when we started using it, even before I got in the 90-day study. I went from 314.8 to this morning, I was 293.2.
Wow.
So it's working, but it's helped everything from how my clothes fit, my mental clarity. I was definitely in metabolic lockup and having insulin resistance. And I'm one of the fortunate people that responds quickly. My wife joined me. She's not losing at that rate, but I'm an active guy. I like to golf and do other things. And so I actually am so excited. I'm refurbishing my bicycle, my mountain bike, because I plan on getting back on that. And so all I can tell you, the biggest difference from a year ago was that it was a struggle to do the intermittent fasting. And this is no hype. I have no intention of becoming any further involved in referring friends when I've got more proof to show. It's simple and it's easy. And I was actually on another program called Simple, but with this, the beverage instead of my coffee in the morning, the Unimate, and the balance, the man in John 9 who was born blind and Jesus healed him, they kept questioning him and said, well, what did he do? He says, all I know is I was blind and now I can see. And all I know was several weeks ago, I was 314.8, the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I'm a big guy. I'll be skinny at 255, but I know it has worked dramatically, but I'm not uncomfortable. I'm not having food cravings. The fasting is just a matter of saying, oh, it's time to have something. Very mild hunger. A number of the days I did what we call OMAD, 1 meal a day, because I was satisfied. I'm eating to live, not living to eat. So I'm thrilled with the product, and I'm excited about reaching back. I was happiest at about 255, very busy. I'm a hunter outdoorsman, and I don't want to be skinny. I want to be my healthy me, and the product has been absolutely wonderful.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
I appreciate
Oh, and I
that.
want to say, when I saw the little mixer, I said, oh, this looks like a gimmick. I absolutely love that thing. It's fantastic how it works. And it's just so handy to do it. So that's my story. And
Hey,
I can't
William,
wait to see my doctor.
I have to just tell you that was so fun to listen to, and I'm so like happy for you. But kudos to you for just jumping in, being consistent, and really giving it a chance. Because I think sometimes people dabble in it. You've gone all in. You know,
Oh,
you've
I'm not a
really,
dabbler.
yeah, you've really gone all in. I can hear that, and I'm really happy about that. And I want to just say that it sounds to me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you fill in the gaps here for me, but where you were at before mentally versus how you feel mentally and emotionally about your health now, what would you say the difference is?
Well, I've done a tremendous amount of reading. I'm very skeptical as a person. There's so much falsehood across the spectrum of knowledge. But I do know that your body warns you, tells you. I was having memory issues. Believe it or not, even my vision, I could sense the fuzziness. And I know these are the things that are precursors. Now, my A1C last November was 6.8, up from 6.4 in the spring. So I know it was going in the wrong direction. But I also know that there's a reward to a disciplined life. And so I'm just shocked, personally shocked, at the level of increased clarity, and the depression is gone. I was depressed because going upstairs made me breathe hard. And I was out walking today and didn't need to pause or anything else. My clothes fit better, everything from my shoes to my shirts. And most of all, my lifelong best friend, my wife, says I can really see the difference. That's all I need.
Oh, that's awesome.
That
Love
is.
it.
So good.
Thanks so much for sharing. We're really grateful that you were willing to come on and share
Sure.
tonight.
Well, I like to help other people enjoy life as well. We have an abundant life to live with the Lord.
Yes, yes.
Thank you,
Appreciate
William.
that.
Appreciate it
Agree.
very much. Man.
Yeah.
Have a great
Thank you
Good
so
evening.
much.
right.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
I want to just let everybody know too that, and as you're Daryl, as you're finding our next guest, every week we have a science call, and these science calls are something where we bring people on who are medical professionals, and they kind of share what's happening inside your body, and they give us a little bit more of the science side of this. And so, if you would like to come to that science call tomorrow night, it's open to anybody. If you're struggling with your metabolic health, you should come. Tomorrow night, they're actually focusing, we have a pediatrician that's coming on and talking about what's been happening with children and how prevalent this is and what we can do for kids and teenagers and adults and really across the board. So if you would like the link or the info on how to get on that science call for free tomorrow night, you just want to comment science in the comment section and we'll get you that link. And William, you're welcome to stay on screen with us, or if you want, you can X out of the live. Feel free to stick around.
I just wanted to say one more thing, if I could.
Yeah, please.
The precipitating change in my life was a number of years ago, I had Lyme disease, and that resulted in atrial fibrillation. And that really was a bad spell in my life. I stopped weightlifting and other things like that. And so I do have medications that losing weight aren't going to take care of. But I know that I feel healthier, and it's not just feeling. The scale shows it, my clothes shows it. But as a person with AFib, blood thinners and some other heart meds are part of my regimen, but this has been a dramatic improvement, and I'll be glad to come back on in a couple of months and tell you the 90-day story.
Hey,
Awesome,
I'm
William.
really glad you mentioned the heart things, because I think there are people that are concerned about that. So thank you for telling us that part of your story.
Right. I'd left it out, and it's my main motivation, because if your heart's not working, nothing else is working too. So,
Yeah.
all right, I can go screen out and let you enjoy the rest of the program.
Yes.
Thank you, William.
So much.
You're welcome.
So nice to see
Welcome.
you.
God bless.
Tell your wife
You too.
hello.
Really appreciate you. Yeah. Ben, I see you there.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay. Well, I'm so excited to have you. I've recently kind of been acquainted with Ben's story, and maybe you guys want to introduce who he is, and then we can start talking to him about his story a little bit.
All right. So Ben he's actually my uncle. So he's married to my aunt, and I just know Ben forever and ever and ever and love him to pieces. And he just has the most incredible story, actually. Just his growing up story is amazing and beautiful. He's a very strong person. And so I don't know, Ben, you can share when they were here visiting. Daryl and I just felt like that we should share what we had been using. And Ben and Janice listened, and I cannot wait for Ben to share with all of our people what has happened with him, because it's been such a neat thing to watch. So go ahead.
I just want to interject too and just say that some of you are listening and you have family members who are struggling with their health. And I just want to acknowledge that sometimes that's hard. Like, it's a little awkward. You don't want your family members to think that, you love them regardless of their health, right? Like, that's not why we love them. But we want them to be at their best because we care so much about them. And so if you have family members that you love, you should share this with them. When you hear Ben's story, you'll see why. But I'm so glad that Daryl and Annie, that you guys weren't shy about telling Ben about this because of what it's done for him.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, let's get into that a little bit. So, Ben, maybe you can share kind of where you were at physically, mentally, emotionally prior to finding this system.
Prior to finding this system, my weight had gone up to 300 pounds for the second time in my life. I reached 300 one other time and said, I can't be this heavy. And I tried a different weight loss, and I lost some weight, had some success. But it, as with anything, it just slowly came back on, and I hit 300 pounds again. And I just lost a brother in early March, younger than me, who died of a heart attack. And if you looked at him and me together, you would think he was the healthy one. And that was about the time we started talking to Annie and Darryl about the protocol. And so Janice, my wife, and I, we decided after we visited with Annie and Darryl at their home, we're going to give this a try. And the Monday after the funeral, we started the protocol. And probably for me, within 2 weeks, my cravings were gone. And you look at my size. I love sweets. I get up at 4 a.m. for my job, and there's a convenience store a block away. And the first thing I do is I pull in and I get one of those big soft drinks and some donuts or, something sweet. And that goes on throughout the day. But those cravings are gone now. And I'm going to tell you something else that has happened with me over this program. But for me, the cravings being gone means I can be successful, because any other program I've ever done, I still had cravings, and those cravings are what led to the downfall. So the cravings being gone has just been the best thing for me. I've been having some knee problems for quite a while. My right knee, I've had 2 repair surgeries done to my right knee. The last surgery, my doctor said, Ben, this is the last time we can fix it. If you injure it again, you're going to need a new knee. And sure enough, about 6 months after that repair, I injured my knee again. And all I could hear was his words in my head saying, you're going to have a new knee. And having had that, a couple of surgeries already, I just didn't want to do that again. So I just put it off. I had a shoulder surgery as well. And I kept putting off this going back to the doctor because I didn't want to deal with it. And the pain was finally so much so where, on a scale of 10, every day I'm a 6 or 7 by the end of the day. And my wife finally said, look, we've got to do something about this. So we went to the doctor, and, I had the surgery, got a new knee. That happened on last month on the 24th. I had that surgery. It was a Thursday. Before we left the doctor's office, they had me all wrapped up, and they said, now just leave it alone. You're going to have a nurse come in a couple times a week, and she'll be there tomorrow on Friday, and she'll rebandage you and take care of you and everything. So Friday morning, the nurse shows up, and she takes the ace bandage off of my knee, and she kind of peeks under the bandage, and she looked up at my wife and I, and she said, have you guys changed the dressing? And of course we said, no, we haven't touched it. And she said, this does not look like you had surgery yesterday. There was nothing on the dressing, no blood, nothing. It was just a nice, clean bandage. And she was just totally shocked. And later that day, the PT came in, and same thing with her. She had already talked to the nurse, and they were talking together about how incredible this was, and starting to do PT. The physical therapist is in shock at how well I'm doing. And I had the surgery on Thursday. By Sunday, I was off painkillers. By the next Tuesday, I was walking with a cane, but I wasn't using the cane. I was just carrying it with me. mostly because my wife was afraid. She said, "You take the cane with you." And I have to attribute it to being on the protocol, because I've had surgeries before, and I've never done this well after a surgery. It's just been amazing.
Well, Ben, I want to just say that there's a lot of people asking. First of all, your story is amazing, and I want to point out a few things about it. There's a lot of people asking where they can find this and how they can get to it and how they can try it and what even is it. And so I'm going to ask you in just a second to explain how you use it each day.
Okay.
But just so everybody knows, because there's a lot of you on here, we have asked for the help of some people in the comment section to answer questions. And there are a few key words that if you put them in the chat after this live ends, you're going to get an automated response. And the response will give you exactly what you're asking for. If you want to get online right now and look for it, you're going to go to Miss Annie's homeandkitchen.com/fiber. But if you wait until this live is over, that link will get sent directly to you if you comment the word info. If you comment the word science, you're going to get the direct link to join the science call that's tomorrow night, where we have medical professionals on explaining how to implement these strategies. And they also do coaching on that call. So you can bring your questions there. We also have a call on Thursday night this week and on Friday, Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central and Friday at 2 p.m. Central. And if you would like to join those calls and learn how you can refer people, there's a referral program that this company has where you can refer people and either get product credit, or you can even make money when you refer people. Okay. Some of you, that's not your thing, and no problem. But many of you have family members that are going to use this, and it just might make sense for you to kind of listen in and learn how that whole thing works. And so if you would like to learn more about the business side of things, you can comment the word, what did we decide on that one? Zoom. So just put the word Zoom and we'll send you the info for that. But Ben, when you have a wound, and this was, a surgery, so it wasn't like it happened on accident, but still, what is common, especially if we have high blood sugars, is a lot of oozing and bleeding and slow healing. And that is the opposite of what happened for you. You
The
had
exact opposite.
quick healing, right? And
Yes.
in the past, you've had these surgeries before, so you're not new to this. And that
Right.
has not been the case, right? So this
No.
is a very big contrast from previous surgeries. You also are older and recovering faster on
Right.
this surgery.
Right.
And that's because of a number of things. One of them being that the Unimate, which is the drink that you drink twice a day, is really good at muscle recovery. So you're experiencing the benefits of that. But you also have drastically lowered your blood sugar. Even if you're not monitoring it, we just know because
Right.
of the way you're healing, right?
Right.
And so maybe you could tell everybody on a given day, what does it look like for you using this protocol?
I guess.
You wake
Well, let me
up in the
also
morning.
say, yeah. Well, I've been stuck at home for a couple of weeks now, so I'm kind of getting used to sleeping late. But yeah, the first thing I do in the morning is go straight to the kitchen and make my first drink. And it really depends on how active I am that day. I'm going to have 2 drinks, and sometimes I'm done with the second one by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Sometimes I'm on my second one by 5. But I'm always going to finish that. And then the balance, just like the directions say, with the biggest meal and being at home, I'm eating lunch a little more than I did when I'm working.
Okay.
I had built myself up when we started the protocol. We were doing the 16-hour window. After the first 2 weeks, when my cravings were gone, I started going 20 hours. and really just eating one meal a day. And when the surgery happened, I'm laying around, I'm being a little lazy. So I'm back to eating 2 meals, but we're still going to 16 hours. And I'll have sometimes 2 balances a day.
Yeah.
If I'm going to have a little more than I should at lunch, I'll drink a balance before that.
I love that.
And
I think it's important that everybody listening kind of hears this, because it doesn't matter if you're a carnivore, a vegan, you're on paleo, or you're just eating regular old meals. Like, you can use this system. You just drink one of the drinks when you're not eating and the other one before you eat. It's that simple, right? And so you're hearing Ben explain, like, yeah, sometimes I'm doing this and sometimes I'm doing that, but you can stay consistent with using the protocol. So thank you for explaining that. I think the biggest takeaway for me, and I think a lot of people on this live can relate to, the food noise. That constant, what am I going to eat next? Cravings, mind over matter, trying to use willpower to make good choices all the time. And the fact that you're saying that food noise is gone, and it
is so gone. I just can't even believe it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody's skeptical, do you have any final words for anybody who's skeptical?
You got a money back guarantee. So
True.
Why not give it a try? I mean, and I haven't even mentioned yet, I'm now down 21 pounds in just under 60 days. We're not
With the knee surgery.
quite 60 days in. Yeah, with knee surgery.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And I can't wait. I go back to the doctor tomorrow. They're gonna check my knee out, and I haven't been to the doctor yet because he hasn't seen how great it is. But I'm so looking forward to getting active again.
Yeah.
Because with the knee pain that I had, I went to work and I came home and I sat down. I didn't want to do anything, and so now I just can't wait.
I just love it.
To get back to life.
Yeah.
We're so happy for you, Uncle Ben.
So happy
Thank
for you. Yeah, Ben,
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming on. And Daryl and Annie, you guys can be looking for Natalie. Natalie, are you ready? But Ben, while you're still here, I just wanted to say that I appreciate you being willing to take a leap of faith and try this. I think there are a lot of people out there that are kind of at their wits' end. And if you've been praying for a solution, if you feel like you need to catch a break, I hope you can lean into Ben's story, William's story, Daryl's story, and you have literally nothing to lose. Just give this a try, and the worst case scenario is you get your money back. But I know that if you use this properly and consistently, you're going to have measurable results.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe you could tell us. A couple people are asking, and then we'll let you go, Ben, because it sounds like Daryl's getting Natalie ready. Maybe you could just tell us. People are asking, how's your wife doing on it? We've heard from a lot of men today. We're about to hear from a woman.
She's right here.
Janice, can you tell us how you're doing?
Yeah, go ahead. You tell.
I am doing great, and I didn't see effects as quickly as he did. It took me about 6 weeks. It really did. It took about 6 weeks to see the effects of this system. I had a lot of energy, and I had the brain fog that wasn't as bad right away. But the other results that I got weren't for about 6 weeks, and I've lost only about 10 or 11 pounds, which is great. I don't mean to say only, but I have noticed. So I get on a biometric scale every now and then because I have been doing another different what's it called? Intermittent fasting program with working out with weights. And I wasn't seeing any movement on my fat to muscle ratio. It wasn't moving, and it was very depressing. After 6 weeks of this protocol, that moved. Significantly moved. My fat loss dropped a lot. My muscle mass stayed. And I I just was so excited. I jumped up and down. I even had a little cry because I did it with my daughter, Abby, who's been with me on this the whole time, the muscle and weight loss. And she was like, Mom, this is significant. What are you doing? And I said, let me tell you what I'm doing. And now I have her on it too. So I'm doing really good. You have nothing to lose, guys. Nothing.
Yeah.
Everything to gain.
Wow.
Everything to gain. That's right. Everything to gain. We are so excited because we didn't want to spend the rest of our lives in a recliner.
Yeah.
And
That's
now there's
true.
hope to not be in a recliner the rest of our lives.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
That is right. So, okay, I'm going to say it again for those that are just tuning in, because we've got a bunch of new people that just came in. If you want to learn where you can get this protocol, $75 off, you need to comment the word info, and you will get, when this live ends, you're going to get info sent to you on where you can get it $75 off. Or you can go to Miss Annie's Home and Kitchen.com/fiber. You can comment the word science to just listen in tomorrow night for free to our science call with medical professionals. Those calls are excellent, and you can ask questions to medical professionals there, okay? And then lastly, if you or someone you love could benefit from this protocol and you would like to share it, you should comment the word Zoom, and you can come to our call on Thursday night or Friday during the day and learn about the referral program that this company has, where you can literally make money while helping people improve their health. So if that's of interest to you, you can comment that word. But even if you're just going to try this and see how it works for you, we all feel strongly that you have nothing to lose. And I hope you're getting that message, a lot to gain and nothing to lose. So thank you so much, Ben and Janice. Really appreciate you
You're
being
welcome.
on here.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ben and Janice. Love you.
You're welcome. Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, and Natalie, yay, I'm so glad to see you on here. Really excited for you to share your story, because I think your experience is unique. I mean, if you met Natalie in real life, which I have, the eyeball test, you would go, she looks perfectly healthy to me. She doesn't look like the type of person that needs this protocol. So maybe you could give us a little bit of a peek into what was going on for you prior to starting this, Natalie.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I would love to. I was dealing with some depression. I'm 50 years old. I have 6 kids, and I dealt with depression different times in my life, but just for like little bouts. But this one was getting to the point where it was like 28 bad days, maybe 2 good days a month. And so I was meeting with a functional medicine doctor to the tune of $6,000. And at the end of the 6 months of a CGM, every cleanse you could think of, at one point I could have like grass-fed butter, chicken, and broccoli. Everybody in my house was miserable, let's just say. And I felt worse than I did at the end of that than when I started, and $6,000 less money in my bank. And meanwhile, Brittany's like, why don't you try these drinks? Let's see what they can do for you. And has a 90-day money back guarantee. And I was like, what do I, at this point, like, I'll try anything, because I am just desperate to wake up wanting to get out of my bed instead of just wanting to go back to sleep. So I started drinking the protocol. Now, I just want you to know I am somebody who has weighed, tracked, worried about every single morsel that goes into my mouth for the last 20 years, just to stay at like feeling okay in my own skin. And so I decided I wasn't going to do that. If this program was going to work for me, I was just going to drink the drinks. I wasn't going to change anything else. I wasn't going to take sugar out. I wasn't going to take carbs out. I wasn't going to do any kind of meal plan or weighing or tracking. So I started using the protocol. 3 weeks in, if I hadn't experienced it myself, I would be on the other end right now listening, thinking I was trying to scam you, but I'm not. It was like the clouds parted, the birds were singing. It was like a Disney movie, honestly. And it just lifted. The depression was gone. And my depression was like, I couldn't wait to go to bed at night, and I didn't want to get up in the morning. I, at the time, had a 28-year-old daughter that was living with us because she was not surviving barely. She was just by a thread. And in 2 weeks, it reversed her depression. And her depression was like, I don't think I want to be here anymore. And I watched her get out of the house and get up early in the morning. She got an apartment out of state and moved out of our house. I've never seen anything like it. To top, if that wasn't good enough, the food noise that I didn't know everybody didn't experience in their life, the food noise of as long as I can remember, was gone. And when I say food noise, I mean like I would eat my meals and the last bite of my food, I would be thinking, what do I get to eat next? There was no shut off for me. There was no, you're full, or like I could eat food 24/7 and I never felt satiated. And I use this protocol, it's gone. Like my body actually tells me, oh, you're full. And I'm like, oh, that's new. And it's just been amazing. And then effortlessly been able to lose the weight that I have lost and gained back at least 10 times over. It's just the freedom that this protocol has given me is literally the best friend I didn't know existed, the best friend I never, knew was out there. And it has been so easy and so simple. And at 50 years old, that's, health has always been hard up until then.
So, Natalie, thank you for sharing that. When you were looking at this and looking at the price tag on it, how did you feel about that? How do you feel about the price now?
Yeah. So I'm super frugal and I love to punch numbers, right? And I'm not somebody like if you had somebody who goes to Starbucks and spends $10 a day on a Starbucks, okay, that's an easy right across the board. I don't do that because I don't get Red Bulls. I don't get drinks from anywhere. I don't even get like a soft drink anywhere because I'm that cheap. And so I was like, that's a lot. But at the time, remember, I had just dropped $6,000 and I felt worse than I did when I started. And it was 6 months of torture on top of it. So at this point, I was like, $159, if this is it, oh my gosh, like I could have saved all that, And so when I started using it, first of all, I cut out breakfast. So that made it a wash. And then I started running the numbers. I wasn't snacking in between meals anymore because that's another insulin lowering strategy. And I buy expensive snacks. I get all organic with the good oils. They're anywhere from $6 to $10 a box or a bag. And at the time, we had 5 people in my household on it. I saw people in the comments talking about 2 people. Talk about 2, 5. Still, when I ran the numbers, we were saving at least $150 a month. That was the lowest end of what we were saving every month. To me, they're 2 food products. It's hard today to get the fiber that we need and to get anything. An apple today does not have the same nutrients as an apple in the 70s. It just doesn't. We know our soil is devoid of this. And I know these products our company is so great about nothing is white labeled. Everything is specifically picked and purified. They are very careful about everything that goes into it. And I know it's the best of the best. So.
Yeah, I love vegetables and I love fruit and I love whole foods, okay? And I still eat those things. But I have been guilty many a time of that going bad in my fridge, buying it and then not getting to it. And it's so disappointing to let that kind of good stuff go to waste. And, either because I was overzealous and thought my kids would like it more than they do or whatever, we just didn't get to it fast enough. I love that this is like a salad that I have in my back pocket that doesn't go bad, that I can take with me everywhere. And it's really simple. So Natalie, maybe you could just 2 things that I think would be really helpful. One is, how do you use this protocol? What does a day look like for you? And like, what do you do on a day like yesterday on Mother's Day? So like, give us a little bit of that. And then maybe you could also just tell us like what people can expect if they decide to jump in and try this, what kind of support they'll get.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Remind me if I forget any of those things because I'll get going and then forget. Okay. The first one is, how do I take it? Was that your first thing. Okay. Okay. So I wake up in the morning. I wake up at 4:50 every morning. I'm not trying to be special. I'm just a morning person. That's just who I am. I go to bed at grandma o'clock, like 9:30. So I get up at 4:50. I mix up my first one. I like it with lots of ice cold water. I don't like it hot like some of y'all do, but if you like hot, Brittany's the one to talk to. I like it ice cold in about 28 ounces of water. I sip on that as I'm working out. It's an amazing pre-workout. I usually finish that one in the first 2 hours, and then I mix up my second one and I sip on that until lunch. And then I have my lunch. I pay attention to my food order of my lunch to further, help with the blood sugar now that I know about insulin. So that's just having your fiber, your protein, your fat, and any carbs to the end. And then I don't snack between lunch and dinner. And I have my fiber before my dinner and eat my dinner. It is like we love to overcomplicate things because health has always been complicated up until this point. It just doesn't have to be anymore. So that's kind of how I do it. What was the second one, Brittany? Do you remember?
That's perfect. So like, what do you do on a day like yesterday?
Okay. So here's my other thing that I love. I don't have to have any off limit things. I just do it differently. I love pizza. It's my favorite. So my husband went and got my favorite pizza on Saturday and we reheated it yesterday. And then he went and got me a Bordeaux bar from C's Candy because I love that too. And so the way that I eat the pizza now is that I have my fiber first. And then I usually make up a green salad. But yesterday I was lazy. So instead of a green salad, I just peeled a carrot and had some bell peppers and dipped them in my homemade dressing and had that after my fiber. Then I enjoyed every bite of my pizza and I only ate 3 pieces. Normally I would eat 6 or 7 if it was eaten on an empty stomach with nothing else before, but I was perfectly satisfied with that. And then I had some of my Bordeaux bar. And then after the Bordeaux bar, I knew that was still going to spike me somewhat. So you just go for a 10-minute walk. Your big muscles will burn up that sugar instead of storing it as fat, which is what we don't want. As far as support, you guys, I know there are a lot of you very, very skeptical, feeling like you've been scammed before. I had a friend reach out to me the other day and she said, Natalie, these drinks work. And I was like, really? That's what I've been telling you. She said, I ate a salad by choice. And I said, I told you that they work. And she goes, yeah, so does every other drink say that they work, and they don't. And this one does. And I'm like, I know, right? And here's the deal. You don't have to, Daryl and Annie, right? You wouldn't even be on here if you didn't know, like, and trust them. There's no way that they would bring this to you. In fact, they didn't even bring it to you when they started. And they really could have, because they had results right from the beginning. They knew it was amazing. They knew they trusted Jody. They knew they trusted Brittany, but they waited because they wanted to make sure that they were 110% positive that it would be a good thing for you. That is why all of us are on here. Do you think 50-year-old me would be getting on social media talking about this if it didn't do what it said it did? I absolutely would not. I have better things to do with my life, with my 6 kids and my grandbaby, than to get on here. But you know what? The things that I've experienced are life-changing and life-giving. And the things that Daryl and Annie have experienced are the same, and Brittany as well. And that is why we get on here, because it is unethical for us not to share this with you. Whether you see it or not, that is totally up to you. But we will continue to shout this from the rooftops until we can't shout anymore, because we have a very sick population out there. And people don't know that they have an option that doesn't have negative side effects, that actually does all good and no harm.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Natalie.
Natalie, that's very, very kind. Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. And I know that we've talked about this before, but it did take Daryl and I a long time to share, because we've got 600 and almost 50 people on tonight, and we've created this beautiful community over 4.5 years, and we did not want to share something that we didn't believe in. And we also shared with our, they've been watching us for 4.5 years, and they've seen Daryl, and, we've shared about his stroke, and, we didn't say to all of our followers what a struggle it was to take care of him. But these last 6 months, he has come, like, for 11 years, we just kept adding and adding medication. And in 6 months, we have like seen such a turnaround. And I'm so excited about our appointment tomorrow to even be able to share more with all of our followers. But yeah, our apprehension was really, really real because we love our followers and we knew that they loved us and that they trusted us. And so, I mean, at this point, it's like I can't not share because so many of them have been struggling with the very same things that we do. And this has not been hard, but it's changed our life. I've seen some people ask, you know, is this something that you would just be on forever? And really, honestly, it's kind of one of those things where Daryl and I just feel like, why wouldn't we? Honestly, because
It makes us feel so good.
yeah,
you know?
it makes us feel so good, and it just keeps, you know, our sugar so normal. I mean, he'd be on medication for the rest of his life. And what we're hoping is to kind of knock some of those down. And then why wouldn't we take this if this is what's going to help him not be on those medications? And me, you know, I've started really taking it for the last, I think I'm like 2 months in, and it has like, you know, just changed so much about my life. And you guys have asked about my little thyroid, and it's gotten smaller. So anyway, that's something else we can talk about, but it's been just a blessing. So Natalie, thank you for sharing. That was so
Of course. Of course. And one more thing I wanted to say is just so you all know, there's a lot of people on here, but know that you individually totally matter to Daryl and Annie, and we will all get back to you. You will get the information you need. We have an amazing Facebook customer support group where you will get the support that you need. Just be a little bit patient because there's only so many of us and there's a lot of you. But I promise we want you to have your questions answered. We want you to feel comfortable. We have the science calls, we have recordings of science calls, we have everything that you need. We just need a little bit of time to be able to get it to you. So I promise we care. But if you sometimes the questions get so fast we didn't even see them. So put them in again. Be annoying. Like put in as many times as you need to, and we'll get to it. I promise.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Natalie. That's a really good point. Yeah, and this Facebook group that we have, it is a customer only group, but I know some of you are in there, and if you're in there, you can comment if you want. The cool thing about that is you get a little video each day right now because we're in a challenge, and these videos teach you what's happening inside your body, and they give you a little bit of extra tips and tricks so that you can get the most out of this. It's kind of our way of holding your hand and holding you accountable a little bit to go all in on this. And we do it as a group, and it just makes it fun. And so make sure that you come and you join that. And if for whatever reason, you know, you're on the protocol and you haven't joined it yet, reach out. We'll give you the info to join that group. But listen, we are really trying to help people. And I know how frustrating and stressful it is to not have your health. I've watched family members of mine, you know, really struggle, and I've been helpless. I've not known what I could do. And I've been scrambling and trying everything. And I wish I would have known about this. You know, I've talked about my dad before, and I just mean that sincerely. Like, I really believe that if I would have known about this protocol prior to my dad's diagnosis with colon cancer, like, I don't think he would have gone down that path. And there are so many of you who it's not too late for. There is so much hope, and there is a simple solution. So if this sounds like something you'd be willing to try, let us know. I'm giving you these keywords because it will make it easier for us to follow up and give you the information that you're looking for. Info for how to get the $75 off link to get the products, science to get the link for the science call, Zoom to hear more about the referral program that the company has. Daryl and Annie, anything you guys want to add before we get off tonight?
I do. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to take a few minutes. I've seen people like asking, like, who's answering these questions? So we've had some, like, Natalie has been answering questions. Trent has been answering questions. There's people on here who know what they're talking about, who have been answering questions. So for those of you who are seeing answers, those are people who we have asked to come on to answer the questions. So Cheryl, Trenty Talk, who are you? He is Brittany's brother, expert. So he
Yeah.
knows a lot about it. So we asked him because we wanted you guys to get the best information and the best support. So,
Yeah. And his wife, Denise, is in the comments too. Denise and Colton, all of those are people who know this company backwards and forwards. They know their stuff.
right. So for those of you who are questionable or wondering or what is happening from the last live that we did, there were so many questions that we couldn't get to. So we invited people who really knew what they were talking about to help us. So thanks to everyone and to our followers. Thank you for wondering who are these people, because that's a good question to ask. But just know that we love you guys. So is there any more that you want to add, Brittany?
No. Daryl, anything from you? Natalie, thanks so much for coming on and helping out. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Yes,
Of course,
thank you,
thanks for
Natalie.
having
Appreciate
me.
it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody have a wonderful night, and thanks for being here and spending your time with us. And we are rooting for you. Just know that we're on your team, and we absolutely believe that your body's not broken. Nothing's wrong with you. You can feel better too. And we're here to help you.
All right.
And
Thank
we
you.
should close with your, come on.
Yes.
And remember, be stronger every day.
And know that you can do hard things. Bye, everyone. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
joining us tonight.
Bye.
Bye.